My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Rimworld and Northeast Miskatonic. And as you can see, we are picking up straight where we left off in the last episode, after we fended off a rather sizable raid from a group of mechanoids who dropped by and decided to come through and say hello. Fortunately, we managed to survive the encounter with little damage, although we did suffer one fairly serious injury, and that is Svetlana has lost a leg. Now, like a true trooper, she managed to stay at her post, which was rather foolish actually, now on reflection, because Svetlana is not armed at all, so she was only there as a sort of meat shield, and obviously she did her job as she took the she bore the brunt of the blows as she lost her leg. All our other colonists managed to emerge from the fight unscathed entirely. As you can see, however, we have suffered some damage to our defences, and the bone walls that we had to funnel any would-be raiders through our trapped corridor has largely been destroyed, so that's going to need rebuilding and probably improving in some way in the very near future. However, the first thing we're going to want to do is obviously tend to Svetlana's rather serious injury. Just remind ourselves here, yes, her left leg has been shot off, so not the best start for Svetlana as she joins our colony. Well, she joined in the last episode, so let's go ahead and pick out our best medical practitioner. Gabe has a skill of 6, so it may well be Gabe indeed, or even Amy. Let's have a continue to check the rest there to make sure there's nobody else who would be more suited. No, it would be Gabe or Amy. So Gabe, we'll use you. Can you please tend to Svetlana? Everybody else can now be undrafted, of course. So we'll stem the bleeding here straight away. Svetlana will then head to our hospital to recover, of course. Now, one thing we probably want to do is construct ourselves a false leg or peg leg for Svetlana if we have the ability to do so. And I think we should be able to. If we head up to our workshop, we'll have a look here and just see if we can. Okay, so at a crafting spot, we can indeed make a peg leg. That will cost 50 units of wood. We have 26, so we might need to go ahead and secure ourselves some extra items and units of wood to actually construct this peg leg. The other thing we're going to want to build as well, of course, is a machining table, and I believe that is what we need to start disassembling the mechanoid corpses. So we'll let all this get constructed and see what we're left over with and what position we are in, and what else we need to do to start harvesting these corpses that we've managed to see off. Gabe, you can be undrafted now, my friend. Where is Svetlana? What are you up to? Well, like a true trooper, she is actually hauling back some corpses rather than going to rest up, so fair play to you, Svetlana. We'll let you have a meal and then get you some bed rest, I think. Okay, she's already going to rest. Okay, so you're not actually classed as injured anymore. Well, that was good tending then there by Gabe, so well done, Gabe. We have the machining table here, as we can see. Let's just make sure there's nothing else of great interest we can build. Obviously the muskets always, and well, the rifles are very good to build, so that's something we're going to want to do. But I think we will start shredding the mechanoid corpses, and we shall do forever, just like that. Now, I do believe all of the mechanoids were killed rather than disabled, so I don't think we can harvest any parts from them. I will just check the workbenches that we have available and see if there's anything we can do to harvest their cipher blades, for example. But I'm not seeing any option here. No, I don't believe that option is available to us because all of them were killed, so that's a shame. But we'll at least get some components from the corpses, which is better than nothing. Now, one thing we are going to need, of course, is some wood in order to create this peg leg for Svetlana. So any nearby trees will now flag to be chopped down over the next coming day or two. And that should give us enough wood then to craft Svetlana the desperately needed peg leg. Something else we're probably going to go ahead and make is a few extra ranged weapons for our colonists. I think initially we'll just go with some bolt action rifles. Yeah, we'll go for a bolt action rifle, and we'll make, say, 3 of those. and that should be enough to arm the rest of our colonists, so in any future firefights everybody can get involved, and people like Svetlana won't just be standing there as a meat shield and having their legs shot off for no good reason. Amy continues to attempt to recruit Mr. Henry to our colony, sadly without any joy so far. Now, as I said, I would like to turn this into a much more pleasant environment for Henry to be sleeping in. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him a bedroll first of all, so he has a proper place to sleep, and then we're going to put down a simple table and chair so he can eat without suffering the ignominy of eating without a table, which, as we all know, is one of the worst things you can do to a man or a woman. So let's put down a small table now, and we'll make these out of just bone. We have plenty of bone on hand, so may as well use that, of course. And we'll even give him a proper dining chair. He can also have a latrine, so he can relieve himself in a bit more of a civilized manner. And why the heck not, we'll give him a well as well, so he can keep himself relatively clean. Okay, so Svetlana has made herself a peg leg, so what we're going to do now is we're going to queue up that to be installed, so to speak, on Svetlana. So if we go into the health tab, operations, and we want to add a bill to install the peg leg. If we just find it here in this rather large list. Okay, make sure it's going onto the correct leg. It is the left leg, of course. So install peg leg, left leg. And then we'll have Gabe prioritise operating. Oh, she's not ready for surgery. Oh, okay, you have to... There we go, yes, that's right. We just have to send her to rest manually. There we go, and now Gabe, you should be in a position to operate on Svetlana. So we've had chunks of spacecraft land nearby, which we will deconstruct, of course, for the free resources that they yield. Well done, you've failed catastrophically. I can only imagine what you've managed to do here. Let's have a look. It's gone through her lung and her kidney. Gabe, good effort. Let's try again. Yes, please use a medicine to tend to Svetlana to compensate for the complete hash job you made of trying to install a peg leg through her chest. That's quite an impressive feat there, Gabe. Well done. So we're going to have to create another peg leg. We still have enough wood, which is good. So let's queue up yet another peg leg to be constructed. Well, look at that. Henry has a masterwork bedroll, so well done, lucky you. So what we'll do is we'll remove this sleeping spot. Henry should automatically pick up the bedroll as his new sleeping spot, of course. And because I'm feeling generous, we will even give you an end table there as well to boost your mood a little. What's the temperature in here? -11. Well, in that case, you're probably going to need a radiator as well, so let's put a radiator down. We'll put it against the wall. We're going to have to make sure the heating pipes run into here, of course, which at the moment they do not do. But that will be easily done just by running some down here. Okay, Born, you're disassembling corpses. Well, could you please prioritise doing the peg leg for me? We need to get Svetlana back up on her feet, pardon the pun, as soon as possible. And it's the left leg still, so install peg leg, left leg. There we go. We have a peg leg installed on Svetlana, so while it's not as efficient as a bionic leg, of course, it's still a damn sight better than having nothing at all, so she should be thankful for that when she wakes up, although she's awake, but when she's back on her feet again, pardon the pun. Now, as you can see down here, we have started reconstructing the walls that were damaged and destroyed in the last raid, and you may notice we have gone for granite castle walls here, rather than just a bog standard bone wall. As you can see, these have a lot more hit points than your standard bone walls, so these should stand up to a lot more punishment when the next raid occurs, which is always going to be a good thing. And it should mean we're not going to have to do as much replacement. We might have to repair, of course. I mean, we can see here some repairs are needed, but at least they were not destroyed, putting our colonists in harm's way unnecessarily. So Henry's resistance is now at 8.0, down from 8.3. The more we improve this room, of course, the faster that resistance will drop. But when it comes to converting people to our ideology, we certainly don't want them to be in here, because their mood will be too high and it will take far too long. So this will be where we convert the people, and this will be where we recruit them once a true believer. We have researched blowback operations, so we can make auto pistols and machine pistols now should we so desire. While that is always good, the main reason I unlocked that research is because I now believe we can unlock gun turrets, and indeed we can. So that's going to be our next research target. And once we're able to construct said turrets, we will install some along here and along here with their own dedicated power source. Okay, so Svetlana is now out of the effects of the anesthetic, so she should be back up on her feet pretty soon. But that's okay, that's what we put the hospital there for, but at least she can now move around again, which is a big step forward. Again, pardon the pun, I swear that was unintentional. Okay, nearby settlement, Capsa has a special trade request. They like to purchase 10 tool belts of normal or greater quality, and in return we could either get 9 units of honour, a steel longsword, a harpy sword, a sum of gold, or 35 units of goodwill. I can't say as though I've got any interest in that little trade whatsoever, so we'll just disregard and ignore that. Well, there we go, look, that dropped his mood by 1 whole point there, so that was a nice big drop. Obviously every improvement we make to his prison cell is going to improve his mood just a little. So the more we can get these walls smoothed out and increase the beauty rating in here, the better. I think adding the latrine, the well, even though it is contaminated due to the sewage outlet right here, and the table and chair is making a big difference to his overall mood. Okay, so thankfully now our defences have been fully repaired, all the debris has been cleaned up, and any damaged walls that hadn't been destroyed have also undergone repair as well. So should the next raid occur anytime soon, we're in a better position to defend ourselves once again. Of course, one of the things we could look at putting down immediately are some gun complex. This does require somebody to manually operate the gun complex, but that shouldn't be a big problem. And I'm thinking if we had 2 of those, one there and one there, that would be a decent start to things, and then the rest of the area could be taken up by automated gun turrets as and when we finish the research. So we'll queue up 2. We don't have enough steel to build both of them straight away, but we have plenty of steel nearby that we can mine out. So any nearby steel veins that I can see, we are now going to flag for mining, as well as the silver. We may as well take the silver while we're in the area. There we go, so that's plenty of steel to be mined out over the next few days. So Gabe is inspired and will now learn any skills faster, or twice as fast, for the next 8 days. So I think it's a good idea to get Gabe really focusing on the research. That way we can really get his intellectual skill as high as possible, although it is already very high. And there we go, we have now finished researching gun turrets, so that is a huge step forward in terms of our defensibility. Let's have a few minutes here and decide what we want to go for next. I think we'll go for microelectronics next. That's another key research project we need to get done sooner rather than later, so we may as well go for that. Svetlana has been initiated into our cult, which is really good, so she'll no longer be upset about witnessing the sermons. Let's see how Henry's resistance handles this next conversion attempt. 5.925, so again, round about a full 1 percentage point drop there. As we can see, Quinn, Q and Haruka, so the mother and the 2 daughters, working nicely together there to smooth out the walls of Henry's prison cell. Every little helps, of course, and this is really going to boost the rating of his room. As we can see, it's now up to mediocre. And as you can see, Henry's mood is pretty good nowadays, so we should now start seeing decent drops in his resistance. And hopefully we'll be able to have him as a fully functioning member of the colony soon. Q and Quinn are working on mining out some steel, which is great because we need plenty of that. We still need to construct the ENIAC, and that does take around about 800 units of steel, so we really need to work on bolstering our steel reserves. 3.1 resistance now from Henry, so ever so slightly closer. And the next, well, if the current trend continues, then within 4 attempts we should be able to recruit him, or he should be recruited on the 4th attempt. 3 more to reduce him to 0, and then the final one to actually convince him to join the colony. As we can see here, Q, her sister Svetlana, and Q's daughter Haruka have all gone on a hunting trip together. We spotted a herd of muffalo wandered onto the map, so we may as well have them for ourselves. And the muffalo have started to take revenge. Hopefully it's just the one, and this shouldn't be too much to deal with. Okay, Quinn is in a bit of danger up here, as we can see. Danger averted. Let's prioritise hunting that muffalo and getting it hauled back into base. Okay, so 1, 2... Yes, 2 of the remaining muffalo are already bleeding out, so they shouldn't last too much longer themselves anyway. And that's a successful hunting trip there, even if Q did take a little bit of a hit. Yes, a bruised right arm and a cracked humerus, so nothing too concerning, but we shall tend to her regardless. So the 2 muffalo that we have already are going to boost our food reserves. We have plenty of rice and corn, as we can see, and the rest of our rice is ready for harvest and hauling, so that's going to be a nice little supplement to our reserves. I think we'll swap over what we're growing now, however, and I think we'll go for... I don't think... Can we grow heel root? Do we really need to grow heel root, though? That's the other question. I think now we shall switch over to potatoes. In the near future we will look to build yet another greenhouse around this steam geyser here. We may as well take advantage of the free heat that it produces, and of course we're also going to put down a generator over the top as well to get some power from there. At the minute we pretty much tend to run at an excess, apart from when the wind dies down, as we can see here now. We are now starting to eat into our reserves, but we have plenty stored, so I think we're good for the near future, but we are going to want to look to improve our power reserves sooner rather than later, because we don't want to start having intermittent blackouts. In fact, do we have the requirements to build a geothermal generator straight away? Let's have a look. Power... No, we need more steel, but we'll queue it up for construction regardless, and then it's ready to go as and when we collect the steel that we require. Cody asked Henry about his hands. 0.8, so hopefully 2 more interactions should do it there, and then we can release Henry and he can join us properly, which will be fantastic. The more people we have, the better, of course. Okay, so Henry's resistance has now been broken, so the next recruitment attempt should actually recruit him to the colony if all goes well, and then he can take ownership of this new bedroom down here that we constructed specifically for him. At that point we can start making use of his plant skill, and he can really help out Cody in the farming aspect of our day-to-day colony management. Okay, let's see if Henry will now join the colony. And indeed he has. Welcome on board, Henry. Good to have you with us, my friend. And we can now assign you this bedroom that we created especially for you, you lucky, lucky man. There we go. So with Henry's recruitments now completed, I think we will end today's episode. Before I forget, however, we are going to want to make sure we actually unpause these work orders here, so Henry gets a full set of gear that the rest of our colonists are enjoying. And we'll also have him equip this rifle over here. Yeah, he prefers shooting to melee, just about. So if you equip the bolt action rifle, that means all of our colonists are now armed in the event of a raid. So yes, oh no, last thing to do, sort out his work orders, of course. Okay, with Henry's work orders now tended to, as I said, we shall end the episode here today. A lot quieter than the previous episode, but sometimes that's not a bad thing, just allows you to get back on your feet and make repairs and make sure everybody is tickety-boo. Well, that's useless now, but maybe we can catch somebody in the next episode. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed the episode and you're enjoying the series. If you have, and you are, please consider hitting the thumbs up button down below to show your support. And if you haven't already done so, then consider subscribing to the channel for future content. For now, all that remains me to say is, as always, ladies and gentlemen, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.